to the first episode of the QI. I am your host, DJ 10th Power. Our first guest today hails from York, Pennsylvania, and is DJ Duce. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, 10th Power, man. Appreciate you for having me on, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. For the people that don't know of you, we know that you have a lot of followers. Let us hear about how you got started in DJing, how long you've been DJing.
Well, my first introduction into DJing really began, I want to say, in 2011. I had an opportunity to be a co-host out at York College. I had a young woman out there who was doing a show, and she said, you want to come co-host the show with me? And I'm like, sure. You know, FM radio at the time for me was a big thing. So I went on there with her, did that for about a year. And it was like really my first real introduction into DJing, actually learning everything and doing everything properly. So I did that. I took about 2 years off, and then I really went into mixtapes, and it really took off from there. I dropped a good amount of mixtapes, a lot of mixtapes.
How many would you say you've dropped at this point?
Not including outside projects, probably around 110.
That is a lot. And
probably around 100.
What got you into doing the mixtape thing after your break? Did you just come up with that idea, like this is an avenue that I could go, or?
Basically, because no other DJ in York was doing mixtapes, really. I mean, there was a few, but nobody was on like major platforms, you know. So I'm like, well, let me try that avenue, because everyone else seems to be either in a club or they're doing events. So let me try something different. And then that really, I guess, worked out for me.
And how does your mixtape work? You produce your own music?
Basically, it used to be, times have changed. It used to be a simple setup, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Where you actually had to lay your turntables out or your controller and actually mix the tape. Now everything is pretty much studio production. Like, I can lay a mixtape in FL Studio easier than me getting my setup out and doing it that way. So it's kind of bad in a sense, because it allows us to cheat.
With the mixtape, and we know that music streaming has now become popular and playlists. Do you feel that that's affected the mixtape game any?
Absolutely. Like, a lot of artists don't come to DJs anymore because they don't need that avenue to travel. They have, you know, iTunes, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all those outlets to really just put music out on their own. So they don't really need a DJ or their name to host anything, because the avenues are already there for them, as opposed to 10, 15 years ago, when the avenues were really shut and you had to know a DJ or someone that knew in contact with those sites to get your music out to the right people. So I feel it's still there, but it's really dying off quickly.
Now, you have your own website where you promote music. You work with independent artists as well as so-called big name artists.
Yes, both independent and major.
And I've been reading, you know, I go to a lot of blogs, and I caught on allhiphop.com that an artist named Naku from here in York, Pennsylvania, had hooked up with Rick Ross's label. And he, you know, the next guy they say from York, Pennsylvania is going to blow. Who do you feel after Naku may be, and I may not be pronouncing his name correctly, so I apologize for that, but who do you feel may be next to blow after him from here in York, PA?
Quite honestly, York has a lot of talent. My real introduction to York really was Naku, I would say, first. I mean, I did work with artists around the area, but Naku was the first one that I chose to work with in the city. Just because I liked the kid, I met him, and I thought he was very humble. So I took the opportunity when he asked me to host his mixtape. I opened my doors up, and then I started working with other artists. I worked with Bizzle DiCaprio. I worked with Homebase Mook. I worked with Misfit Nina. Who else? I'm trying to think. It's quite a few I worked with. And I was always leery to work with artists in the city just because of, I just got a lot of negativity over the years from everyone. Everyone doesn't seem united. You know, everyone seems to be doing their own thing, or nobody can come together. I mean, I try to tell people all the time, it's better if we work as a whole than if we work individually, because
Absolutely.
you know, we would get a lot further working together than we would individually.
And you see that problem in a lot of different areas. It's not just, you know, York. A lot of different places, a lot of different states and cities have that problem with unity. Everybody wants to be the king on the throne, so to speak.
Right. I mean, you go look at certain, it really depends on the city. Like, if you would go to Atlanta, which is the #1 spot right now,
Right.
If you want to do anything hip-hop, you want to be in Atlanta. Everyone pretty much is on a friend basis, I would say. Like, you could reach out to someone and collaborate with them, and they pretty much will work with you in a heartbeat, because that's just the love and the unity that that city has, as opposed to like our hometown. You reach out to someone, like I heard stories, I hear rumors. I don't really feed into it. You know, I just stay in my own lane. But I heard stories already of artists trying to charge certain people for a feature, but you don't really have the resume to be charging artists. Like, you want $500, $600 for a feature, but you put out a project 2 years ago and you luckily did 500 streams. So what gives you the right to charge artists? I mean, it's really politics when it comes to the whole artist thing, and I don't get involved.
Understood. Are you currently working on any projects?
I just put out a mixtape yesterday, as a matter of fact. I put out Power of the Cosign 2. That is on right now, live mixtapes on the front page. Spinrilla on the front page. Audiomac, DatPiff, all kinds of other websites. There's a bunch of them. Contraband app, which I think a lot of people should know about. That's a good hip hop app with a lot of indie artists that I think a lot of platforms miss out on. And that's ran by a brother named DJ Arab, who's actually from the area. He's not from York, but he's from the 717. It's a really good app. I think everyone should definitely check that out. But this mixtape really showcasing a lot of records that I support, both independent and major. And I just feel like it's a good transitional mixtape, because I have been not putting out much lately.
Okay.
So
what's up next for DJ Duce? What do you have planned for the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
Well, in the next 5 years, to be quite honest with you, I'm looking to probably get away from mixtapes. I am currently doing radio out of Connecticut. I do a simulcast. For people that don't know what that is, basically I set up shop anywhere and simulcast like I'm in Connecticut.
Okay.
So I've been doing that radio show for about 4 or 5 months now. And I really like radio because there is no limitations to what you can do. It's pretty much a free-for-all, as opposed to mixtapes. Like, I do a lot of remix projects that I really started doing. I did a Big Pun joint, I did a G-Unit joint, and I just did a bunch of other ones. And it seems to me they just like certain music. Like, if you put out a trap mixtape, everyone's like, it's the shit, it sounds so good. And then you put out a traditional hip-hop mixtape, and it seems like you don't get the love that you're really supposed to get from it anymore.
So where can people find your music? I've been to your website and I've seen that your G-Unit mixtape and your Big Pun mixtape. Name some of the other places that people can find your music, and shout out your social media as well.
Or other than my mix site, DJDuceMixtapes.com. That's the home front. I mean, I utilize my website to the fullest. You can find me on DatPiff, Live Mixtape, Spinrilla, to torrent websites. They're selling my mixtapes on eBay. It's everywhere. I mean, and they're selling mixtapes on eBay. So if you're a DJ and check on eBay, your mixtape might be up for sale.
All right. I want to thank you, DJ Duce, for being the first guest on our show, The QI.
Not a problem, man.
Thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed our show. I am DJ 10th Power, and as in parting, I would like to say, may your best of yesterday be your worst of tomorrow. Peace.